Hamas has used a lot of these building materials to build a very sophisticated network of tunnels below the Gaza Strip, making it much more difficult for the Israelis now when they will be launching their counter or ground offensive rather. Another issue is the high population density in the Gaza Strip. You have 2 million people that live on a space that I think comparing to Warsaw is probably 1/4 or 1/5 smaller or so, and nearly, well, maybe not nearly, but still a little bit more populous than Warsaw. So you have a lot of civilians in a small crowded space. As Egypt is not opening the border for these refugees, they will be squeezed in there. For now, the Israelis have said that they should evacuate from the northern part of Gaza, Gaza City itself, so to say. And further down to the south, you have Khan Yunis and another couple of settlements, which are not as densely populated as Gaza City itself. So the assault will naturally initially target Gaza City, and then they will be slowly moving south. But also the fact that the population density is so high means that the buildings are very crammed. You don't have any, for example, so Warsaw after the Second World War, when it was rebuilt, the Soviets had seen that the Poles had already launched one uprising, and they did not want to experience a second such uprising. So there were some thoroughfares that were built that were extremely wide and very practical for large tank formations to advance through. In the Gaza Strip, you have no such thing. Now many of those buildings that have collapsed, that rubble has fallen out and covers these already narrow streets, making it even more difficult to advance. So,
and it's a question also what they're advancing against. It's not like an army in the field where there's the army and there are their artillery emplacements. We attack those. It's very, very difficult because we can assume that this attack by Hamas was so well planned that what we haven't seen, their defences, their digging in, must have been also pretty meticulous.
They have certainly been stocking up on defensive weapons for a while. It looks like this attack has been planned for 8 months, probably minimum, maybe even a year and a half. So they certainly have a lot of automatic rifles. They have a lot of RPGs. They have a lot of explosives for building IED bombs, and they will use this network of tunnels. Also, collapsed buildings are actually quite good for hiding out and to fight. The Poles naturally remember that after Monte Cassino was bombed, the monastery on top of Monte Cassino, initially the Allies had hoped that this would make the German defensive positions much more difficult, but it turned out that the ruins were actually even a better defensive position than the monastery itself. So Hamas will certainly try to dig in, but at the same time it has to be said that it would have been more difficult for the Israelis if this were their first attempt at urban warfare, but it is certainly not. They experienced it during the so-called Lebanese War, which was part of the Lebanese Civil War when there was an Israeli intervention in 1982, and later on also during the Second Intifada in between 2000 and 2005, when they entered many of these settlements on the West Bank, these large Palestinian population centers such as Jenin or Nablus. There you had intense urban combat, and the Israelis, they have specialized in this. They have built an enormous facility that is dedicated solely to urban warfare, so they certainly know what they're doing. Also, I believe that here they will try to save as many Israeli lives as possible, meaning that they will not go for the quick victory just for the sake of political benefits that come from a quick victory. They believe that these gruesome scenes that were sent out to the rest of the world during that surprise attack by Hamas means that they have political legitimacy around the world to let this operation run its course, even if it's going to take a couple of weeks or even potentially a couple of months. So it's more likely that they will go in slowly. They will try to secure every square meter that they enter, make sure that there is no booby trap, that there is no unexpected tunnel opening, and they will use superior firepower, superior training to slowly but meticulously advance forward. So if we look at what is likely to come, it will certainly be a bloody battle. The IDF will certainly lose hundreds and hundreds of soldiers, but nevertheless, they will use this approach of advancing a little bit more slowly in order to spare Israeli lives. And in the end, they will achieve a military victory. The question is if long-term it will be a political victory as well. Those things are, of course, unfortunately, very difficult to predict in the Middle East. It is a part of the world which is very unstable and has been for a long time. And sometimes you have this butterfly effect where something unexpected, a small little detail can lead to very unexpected results.
Adam, alas, the clock in the corner of the studio is flashing at me that time is up. So if we may ask you to pause there and we'll pick up the story next time. There we are. I've had to interrupt Adam almost in mid-sentence, but fear not, if you join us next time, as we hope you will, we'll continue the story. In the meantime, thank you for watching Poland Daily History.